Good evening. Hopefully you can hear us, and welcome to One World, One Blood Bowl, episode 15. We're here this evening. I'm pleased to have with me, firstly, Deeferdan, directly above me. New to One World, One Blood Bowl, we'll be saying hello in a minute. One of the organisers of the NAFC, the big news in Blood Bowl in the coming week. I have with me, obviously, the lovely KFoged, who you've all met before if you've watched any One World, One Blood Bowls before. But an ex or current NAF World number one rated. Is he still current? Are you still current?
Imagine so. Haven't checked.
With the
Haven't
most
checked.
so smooth.
Dubious. And also new, I'm very pleased at the last minute we replaced a guest. Unfortunately, real life circumstances meant they weren't available. So the lovely SickAsEggs has stepped in, a coach from across Blood Bowl. In fact, I was quite proud when I originally put this together. We have from Fumble, very well known on Fumble is Core, but obviously known on Blood Bowl too. Huge tabletop player. Deeferdan, huge in the tabletop community, a real tower, a figure in that world that we all know and well. And when he passes, we cower and try not to catch his eye in a fearsome way.
Damn straight.
But of course, also known a little bit on Fumble, where he does occasionally roll an electronic dice. SickAsEggs very much across the world of Blood Bowl. A player on Blood Bowl 2, a player on Fumble, a player on Tabletop. Recent winner of the Wibble Bowl, which isn't quite as ludicrous as it
Core's
sounds.
not too pleased about that one.
But I'm sure that may crop up because Core was there at the same time. And me, it's my show. This is my channel. I like talking about Blood Bowl. So I've invited people from across Blood Bowl to talk about the NAFC, about the current state of the meta, about going to singles events, just about all of that sort of good stuff. And anything else to do with Blood Bowl that crops up, of course. And I kind of got it all horribly wrong because it turns out they all know each other really well and they're all from Water Bowl. So I've cast my net wide and ended up with 3 people from the same small pool of Blood Bowl. Welcome to One World, One Blood Bowl, episode 15, the one where I completely failed to represent the diversity of Blood Bowl. Thank you for joining me, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us all. It's cool to be here. So.
Sick,
Yeah, absolute pleasure.
you're talking, and as I said, you were the last minute says hello and came on in. Let's talk to you about
You know how
Blood
to
Bowl.
make me feel so welcome.
Well, I mean, you're incredibly welcome, and you're on my list of
joking.
people I wanted in anyway. Sarcastic and occasionally toxic as you are. I did have you in mind for the toxicity in Blood Bowl when it's too much. But we've got you now, so that's great. Talk to me about Blood Bowl. How long have you been playing? What do you like doing? I describe you as playing all formats. Okay. Is that still true?
Yeah. So I basically started in about 2019. My friend told me about Blood Bowl 2, and I just kind of started playing it. And then I found Twitch as well, so I was watching people play on Twitch. And I got really interested in the game, and then I started playing on Fumble as well, and then Tabletop. And I've been playing Tabletop since I think about late 2020, something like that. But then obviously COVID got in the way, so I had a bit of a break, as did everyone. And yeah, I've just basically played it since 2019. I haven't really stopped, to be honest, so I've really enjoyed it.
And I mean, looking forward to going back on the table. Is that your prime focus now? Or?
I guess so. Yeah, I enjoy Tabletop the most. I would say probably out of the 3 I've played. So because you get like the social aspect as well. You get to sit across the board from someone and talk. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to NAF. I know we're going to talk about that in a minute, but NAF Champs. I've never been to it before. I was booked into it actually for 2020, and it got postponed twice, I think. Yeah. So really looking forward to that. Next weekend, isn't it? Yeah. Wow, it's come around soon.
Great. So before we talk to anyone that has been, what are your expectations?
Ooh, a lot of Blood Bowl. It's a 2-day tournament, 6 games. A lot of people as well, right? I've heard there's 300 plus people going. So that's the other thing. Like I've never been to a tournament that big, so that's exciting for me anyway. And just like meeting people. I like the social parts. I like meeting people. There's a lot of people from Twitch I haven't met yet. And I think a few of them, like you actually, PC, never met you in real life.
Absolutely.
One example. So that'll be the big focus, I think, because I think if you turn up to like a 300-person tournament, like I'm gonna win it, like. Are you though? You might, but I think you're being a bit optimistic if you do that. So,
but there was a you might in there. That's on the list of possible objectives.
I just want to do as well as I can. Honestly, I'm not really thinking about winning it. So,
well, I mean, it is the big show. It is the big one in Blood Bowl. Coming so soon after the UKTC, I'd have loved to have spent a couple of shows talking about something else, but you can't ignore something this big in the Blood Bowl calendar. So many people are talking about it, thinking about it, going to it, responding to it. There's a chance it has a huge impact on the meta, but we will talk about that in a moment. So you're going to your first one. This is going to be my second ever NAFC. So I'm no more, not hugely more experienced than you. It is, it's a festival of Blood Bowl, but it's also a Blood Bowl tournament. So, lots of smelly men sit in a big room and roll dice. And around them, a few vendors try and hawk their Blood Bowl related goods or sign you up to their Blood Bowl related conspiracies. And then we all go and get drunk on the Saturday night. And those still in with a chance on the Sunday pretend they're getting drunk whilst actually going to bed as early as they possibly can. It's all very standard. Don't be frightened. Are you planning on hitting Warhammer World at all? Is that a thing
Yeah,
you've
I'm
ever
going
been to? Or-
to. I've hardly ever been to Nottingham. I think I've only ever been once. But Andy or Thor, some people might
Yeah.
know him as Thor, is
Yeah.
running a sevens tournament on the Friday, so I'm going to that
Ah.
as well. So
Oh, well, I might be seeing you there. It's as yet
Ah.
a little bit up in the air, but I'm trying to get myself to there. I don't know about you, I've never played sevens.
I have no idea, honestly.
Yeah.
I have one Games Workshop team, and you need Games Workshop models, so that makes the team I'm playing easy. But I've never played it, so
Yes,
see how that
Again,
goes.
me neither.
that sevens event has got a bit of water bowl history as well. It actually originated as a water bowl league versus a southern league, north versus south sevens tournament in the Warhammer world and
Oh,
now
that's
it's
cool.
turned into a sort of a regular tournament that Andy tries to. So we get a bit of support from GW, so that's cool. Gets everybody in one place as well on
Yeah,
the Friday.
it's kind of great as well that with with the NAFC moving out of Warhammer World, that there's still
Yeah.
that link there.
Yeah.
Our spiritual home, even if we're not particularly welcome. Is that
I think that's fair.
that's fair, isn't it?
We'd get less people. There's not as much space, and people wouldn't be able to bring all them wacky miniatures,
Yeah,
which
it
may or
wouldn't
may not be a
fit.
good thing.
Yes, well, I mean, it did crop up the stripper nun team on the last episode, so I think we've had a little look at that, but I'm sure it will crop up again. So, Dan, we're talking to you, Deeferdan. Cool. Do you want to have a little go at saying hello and just?
Sure,
Am I pronouncing it right?
Deeferdan's right, yeah. It's spelt wrong, but it's pronounced correctly. Yeah, hi, nice to be here. Thanks very much for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. As I said, a colossus that bestrides the world of Blood Bowl.
You say that, you see, but I actually haven't been around on the tabletop scene, tournament scene all that long. I think it was about 2016 with the re-release that I got back into Blood Bowl.
Okay.
I played Blood Bowl a lot. I mean, I played Gegster at a tournament in 2003 or something like that, a club event, and Blood Bowl was sort of on the scene, but I didn't play it very much. I was more into the big war games. But then having grown up, got a child, and then gotten back into war games, it was much more accessible to do something small and perfectly formed like Blood Bowl.
Yeah.
So, but it's all about tabletop as far as I'm concerned, and I enjoy running events. So it was, Hawker stepped down, but now Boneless stepped down 2018, and so I offered to help Jim Jiminy in 2019 NAF Champs. So I and Leipzig Aral from the Water Bowl Commissioner ran that event, and then obviously we were going to run the 2020 event, and then we were going to run the 2021 event, and now we're in 2022, and we've got so many more people as a result. So, and I think everybody's absolutely hankering for a bit more tabletop Blood Bowl because a lot of people still haven't been and played in a tournament since the end of COVID. So here we are.
I mean, that must have felt, putting those two tournaments off. That was a big call, but it was the right call, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think the first one was actually quite an easy decision, really, because it was in the May, just after. I mean, it was quite short term, but it was in that May just after. Whereas the 2021 one was like, could we maybe, and it just became a bit messy. And then and pushing it back another year.
No one's really a Conservative MP, so just the first one particularly just wasn't possible.
No, absolutely.
But we are finally getting to roll some dice again. That must be exciting and good news. But is it a worry? We had a fair few COVID cases at Water Bowl and from the UKTC.
Yeah. So Water Bowl? I think UKTC worries me a little bit. Like what happened with UKTC worries me a little bit because of the number of people that were poorly. But everybody knows the situation. We are all in one room, but we're we're well spaced out. To anybody that's been to the NAF Champs previously, we've got new pitches this year that are resized so that the tables are half the width that they were previously, because they were famously too wide, causing a lot of middle-aged men to get back pain. And so we've now had bespoke pitches made, which allow us to generate a lot more space and hopefully space people out a lot more comfortably, despite the fact that we've actually got more people coming into the conference centre. So we'll do what we can, but I mean, if you're uncomfortable about it, then there is absolutely no question that you shouldn't come along, as far as I'm concerned. And if that means that we have a few less people, we have a few less people. But
I mean, I think one thing I noticed from the UKTC was, I think in the room I was in, I saw perhaps of 150 people, maybe 5 or 10 wearing masks.
Yeah.
I think that number might be a little higher at the UKTC, at the NAFC.
At the NAF Champs, yeah. But obviously, I mean, it's not something that we can enforce because it's not a prerequisite anymore. But yeah, absolutely not sharing dice, not maybe just going for fist bumps or elbow bumps, and wearing a mask. Wearing a mask if you're at all uncomfortable. To be honest, I didn't think we would be where we are with it.
No hugs.
No hugs, probably not. No, just from a distance.
Well, I shall miss my hugs.
I think you've just got to be pragmatic, haven't you?
Yeah, I think we do. I mean, it's as you said, there's a lot of middle-aged men there, and some of us, are more at risk than others. But it's, you take your own choices, and you are responsible for your own health and well-being. But we do still know that COVID, it's not over. I mean, the pandemic may have moved into a slightly different phase, but we do know it's around. So if you're coming, I do plan to go still. But if you're coming, do have a think about it. Just try and take some sensible decisions. Personally, I'm going to probably try and wear my mask as much as I can, where it doesn't make me uncomfortable. And I'm going to keep some sanitizer in my pocket. And it may be that I'm going to do all the touching of my own figures, really.
We'll try and
that's probably all I can do.
We'll try and aerate the venue as much as possible as well, because that's the key thing, really, is airflow. And I'm sure the venue will be helpful with that. It's big, airy space. It's a brighter, bigger space than that UKTC top hall, which was quite funky, I would say. It was hot and warm in there.
Yeah, and definitely no dogging on the Saturday night. I think that's
no dogging.
Yeah, no dogging. That's essential. Cool. We haven't said hello. Hello. Long time since we've had you on, my good friend. How are you?
I'm good, PC.
How's your Blood Bowl?
It's been alright. I've not actually been playing too much Blood Bowl. It's looking, but we got the UKTC, and I'm really looking forward to the NAFC. It's the biggest meet and greet party we've been missing for years now. That's a lot of people you don't really see around in the tournament scene otherwise. So for a lot of us, it's the one year where you get to see most people at one time. Because there's more people traveling from far out than there are to some of the other more local tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's true. It is a huge, great party, isn't it? And lots of people come. But I mean, the UKTC is now getting people from all over, isn't it? And it's getting up there in size as well.
Yeah, it's a great tournament, and I'm happy it's in a time of the year where I can actually attend now. But it doesn't have the same history as the NAFC has.
Yeah.
Like, I've been coming from back when it was the Blood Bowl Grand Tournament. I've been coming every year since 2008. It's
and gone home with the win. Twice.
And reigning losing finalist as well, aren't you?
Yeah.
As well.
So nearly 3 times.
Yeah.
Wow.
PW and me have won it twice. He won it as a Blood Bowl Grand Tournament, though. I'm not sure it counts.
So, what does that feel like, winning the NAFC? Is it different to other tournaments? I mean, it's one of the majors, isn't it?
It was my first it was actually the first 2-day tournament I won. So that also means, of course, it have a different status for me because it's something special. The first really tournament I actually managed to win. We just need to get rid of the final. Nudge, nudge.
So there's a special rule for the final, isn't there?
Yeah, so you actually play a final. The two highest rank before the 6th round actually play a final with overtime. So you've got a winner and a runner-up and a league table, which is the best person not in the final.
So after 5 rounds, only 2 people can possibly win it.
Yeah.
They are declared the 2 playing the championship game, and they sit down and play a game of Blood Bowl, and the winner of that game wins the NAFC.
Yes.
What if it's a tie?
So, yeah, we allow overtime. And the other the issue with it now is the size of the event. So, originally in 2003, when they ran it as a 2-day event and had a final, they would have been at circa 100 people maximum.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now, with approaching 300, it's quite viable that after 5 rounds we'll have 10 players on 5 wins. So, we'll just have to cross that bridge.
So,
it's happened before.
what's the first tiebreaker?
Well, it's strength of schedule. We've had it previously, haven't we? I think there was 4 players. Was it 2018?
I'm pretty sure it's 3.
3 or 4 players. Okay, yeah.
3 is even worse, isn't it? If you're the one on that record that doesn't get to play the final game.
Ask Pete about that. Oh, what's it, Jeff? I cannot recall that.
It wasn't. Yeah, Pete. That was the year Pete won it the second time. That was my first NAFC.
So
I think,
it's
2016. Yeah, so it was Jeff, I think, that missed out. Podfree.
I think 17 there was 3. Actually, I think there's only 2 that year. It doesn't really matter. But there's only been a few times where it's been a really big problem. But it's with the growing tournament, it's getting more and more awkward thing.
Is it sustainable? I mean, the Dungeon Bowl does the same, doesn't it? The big German major. They have a game of Dungeon Bowl played as the final game. You're a big fan of that, I presume, Cool?
That's exactly what I think about that. For anybody seen that, that's even worse in my world. You can do the wooden spoon, you can do the stunty cup. You're not the finalist mad. You play 5 rounds of really good Blood Bowl to then play a random game of
Pop the ball in the chest.
Yeah, and that's old school Dungeon Bowl rules where it's like 1 touchdown you win. I think PurpleChest won that in like 20 minutes or something, didn't he? When he won the Dungeon Bowl.
That's mad. That's
totally crazy. But I think there's a few options. For the super Kinos out there, we could go to 7 rounds. That would be my preference, but I don't think it's the majority's preference.
4 on the Saturday, 3 on the Sunday.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to do, but it's probably heavy going for a lot of people. Yeah, so I think realistically, we'd probably look maybe next year at whether it's just a flat 6 rounds and we don't have a final anymore. But it would be a shame to take that institutional element out of the NAFC.
It is a bit of history, isn't it?
Yeah.
But as you said, if the numbers are getting to that point where really that final round, there's going to be a lot of people feeling, hang on, I could have had a shot here, and now I really don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Sick, were you aware that that's where you need to get? You need to be at the top of the leaderboard after 5. Doesn't matter where you are after 6.
I had no idea, and that's not a normal thing, is that doesn't happen at all the tournaments. So yeah, I kind of like that, honestly. That sounds fun and interesting and unique. So I'd like to keep that.
Now, while we're talking about fun, interesting, and unique, there are a few things I'm going to show tonight. A couple of them we can't then put out for links, but this one I will. This is a lovely, lovely resource that has been made. The NAF on the NAF site, someone has remembered to put coal into the bunker and to get it running. One of their pages, someone has etched on the tablet that allows this to happen on the NAF side. The following, which is they will be streaming from the NAFC. Now, as we have an audience here that is on Twitch, I want you to know that will be happening on Twitch from both the Honest Wargamer and also from the T Sports Network. Now, we have had some streaming before, particularly from the Wolfin and from the Tackle Zone. Thor was doing some of his own streaming recently at a European event, I noticed. So I just wanted to absolutely draw your attention to that next weekend there will be streams from the NAFC. I think Dan knows a bit more about that, so let's pop back to him and say. So you were talking pre-show about this.
Yeah, so this is the Honest Wargamer. Rob he's got quite a good following on Twitch, and he largely talks about the hobby more widely and is very 40k focused. But they have various other avenues, and I think after a conversation with San about 18 months ago on his Twitch stream or podcast, it was suggested that maybe it would be a nice opportunity for them to come down and stream it. So it's going to be quite a big thing. There's a team of guys coming down. There's going to be 2 games being recorded at the same time.
Brilliant.
San will be commentating with a friend, possibly one of us, like one of the refereeing team. And it's a great opportunity actually to get Blood Bowl out there a little bit more to the mainstream, if you like, the 40Kers out there who will be following the Tabletop Sports Network and the Honest Wargamer, and they can see what a proper game looks like.
Where you don't have to carry a wardrobe full of things and roll 400 dice just for someone to say, no, you
Exactly.
can't use pistols in this phase. I have no idea what you're talking about. Obviously, one world, one Blood Bowl, and the 40Kers. Just come. It's a better game. Really, come on, grow up.
Keeper as well, right?
I bet you a lot of them has already played Blood Bowl once or twice during their time playing 40k. If it's been in 40k for ages.
Yeah, I don't know 40k so much. I mean, what's really exciting to me about that news is, I mean, I've watched a live tabletop stream. I mean, I love my Blood Bowl. There's times it makes snooker look exciting. So the idea of having 2 games that they can cut between them and see where the action is, I think that sounds like a great innovation. I did actually play at the last NAFC. One of my games was selected to be up under the lights. I think Tackle Zone was filming that. Sick, are you ready for that, to be chosen to be up under the lights, televised?
Well, first of all, I'm going to ignore your comment about snooker because that was uncalled for.
All right, let's doubles cricket. How about that?
Whoa.
I can continue to attack northern pastimes if you wish. How about whippet fancying, pigeon racing?
I'm not wrong for that.
Yeah, no, that'd be fun. I mean, how do they choose the people? Do they just? I mean,
we'll look at the round draws, and then San and us all suggest people.
Yeah,
and we'll try and diversify it and pick people that we know are solid, people that we know are quite quick, as well.
Good, yeah.
So
I don't think I mean I wouldn't choose me right at the moment because I've hardly played any tabletop. I've played like 4 tournaments or something like that. So I'd rather watch somebody I've heard of play, rather than like
I found it quite stressful, and I'm quite used to the pressure of a camera being on me and performing and stuff. But suddenly I was being told I have to roll my dice in a tray under this particular camera so the camera can see them. And please make sure that when I move, my hands withdrawn so that the piece is visible and stuff. And it's just trying to remember that stuff whilst also playing Blood Bowl. And then the guy I was facing had an unpainted team, which for some reason was slightly triggering me. And then he was elves, and he rolled 375 2+s to escape from a situation where I was going to destroy him, and I was humiliated and destroyed. So that cheered me up, because I do love a good loss with people watching. That's always fun. So, yeah, the pressure of that, we're going to do that to just one person around, or two, you said?
4, yeah,
so
4.
4, wow.
Yeah, 2 players in each game.
And is the final game going to be one of the televised ones? Will we see the final?
Yeah, definitely. Probably just the final, I would suggest.
You won't be cutting away to the people in 3rd and 4th place and hearing how unhappy they are that they've no chance to win.
Who knows?
What a wonderful counterpoint that could be.
I think you should stream the wooden spoon game as well, or maybe even have a wooden spoon game, right? So have the bottom 2 people duking out for last place, right?
Well, Thorbowl does that. It's Blood Bowl. I keep thinking it's Thorbowl because Thor runs it. They have a particular final game for I think the 4 teams down the bottom, to decide who everyone points at, I guess. Which seems as problematic to me, but I think Blood Bowl is a very loved up. Everyone loves each other, so no one particularly minds. I don't think it's genuinely about humiliation. I think it's done with love.
I think it started as as more tournaments where you play to get the wooden spoon instead of people kind of dropping their games to get a wooden spoon. So there's more tournaments where you have to play for it on the bottom table. So it's something you win instead of something you get from just dropping everything.
Right.
I think that's a bit the spirit with Blood Bowl as well.
So so perhaps take the bottom 4 teams, and then the winner of those 4 comes away with you had a crap weekend, but you did triumph at the end prize. That would be...
I better like it. You've seen people almost drop games just to get their wooden spoon.
Cool, you're going to get me in trouble because people are always saying that this show is all about how to be hyper competitive, and I don't believe that myself. But there's only one way to play Blood Bowl, isn't there, and that's to win.
I think so. I think, and that's why, like, having played at the big events, the most enjoyment I've had in Blood Bowl is playing to win.
Sick. That was
Personally,
supposed to be a trap. Instead of Core falling in down, went, yeah, I'll leap into that one. Surely we can't just go and have some fun at the NAFC. We're not trying to win it, are we? Or are we? Are we? A little tiny bit, maybe.
Core definitely is.
Yeah, he is. Right, I want to
Tier
talk.
1.
What's
I'm
Core
out.
taking?
I'm taking a quarterly to people at tier 5 team.
Well, I mean, let's talk a little bit about the meta. Dimmy, I believe the lovely Dimmy G is in chat. He's throwing off. He's throwing off a few of those lovely polls I've asked him to throw out for me. Fantastic. We should get some info back from those soon. Are people getting awful reverb from me? Should I unplug and replug?
I mean, just quickly as well, when you were saying about playing to win, when I first went to the Water Bowl, which was 2019, the 2-day tournament, there was a prize which I didn't know about for most fouling cas, I think, right? That was a thing, and or most fouls, I think, over the entire. I seen maybe there wasn't, or maybe some guy invented it. But basically, a guy turned up with goblins and literally just tried to make 16 fouls every game, so you would get that right, which I thought was kind of fun.
That was a couple of teams.
Yeah.
It's like an outside thing they've been trying to do at multiple tournaments. It's just have a little bit the same effect. People stop trying to play to just foul. They were fouling before scoring and other stuff.
He also told me he was absolutely delighted when he got a blitz because it meant an extra foul could get a 17 foul game.
Well, that's why there are little rules in the NAF Champs rules that I drop in for that reason. So, for example, you can't win most CAS unless you win a game. So you actually have to play to win still to be able to win the most CAS.
Maybe that was just something he decided to do, right? And he just,
But I've been to events before where people have just ignored the ball in an attempt to just get a million casualties and played a different game entirely, and that's not cricket as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, but if it is as far as they're concerned, I mean, if you're playing cricket and they're playing kabaddi, isn't that fine?
I could go to a kabaddi tournament.
I would go to a kabaddi tournament. I think that looks awesome. But kabaddi aside, I mean, a good friend of mine came to the Light and Dark tournament that my friend Throwick organised, Neil Watt, and he came with the intention of winning the most fouls. And he set about slaughtering teams by fouling every turn. I think he managed some absurd number, like 50 in 3 or 4 games of Blood Bowl. It was ridiculous. One of his opponents in particular was very, very upset by it and still talks to this day about that experience. I mean, I have already asked him if he's going to come on. I'm trying to put together a show about toxicity in Blood Bowl. Where is the line? But no one wants to come on and talk about it with me. No one admits to ever being toxic, ever. So I'm struggling to get that one off the floor. Hey, Thor. So yeah, I did want to. Where was I? Completely derailed me. Sorry. I've lost it. Where
polls. We were doing some polls.
We are doing some polls.
Yeah. Dimmy is doing poll dance.
Let's cut to the polls. So Dimmy has done 3 wonderful polls for us. At the moment, I have the results on 2.
I wasn't warned about
that. So we only have 2 coming through at the moment. Now, the first one of those is fantastic. So talking about the meta, where do we think the meta is going? One of the questions I asked Dimmy to poll for me was, what race was the MVP at the UKTC for team points? Now, the options they were given were High Elf, Lizardman, Amazons, Wood Elf, and Slam. We got 83% said High Elf and 17% went for Lizardmen. I can tell you, you're not correct. I want to know if you guys are surprised by this. If we look at the other thing I have pulled up, oh no, that is the lovely Norse team look. I've made a Norse team on Fumble. Isn't that nice? And if you look down there, number 13, it's got a little pig. It's got a little piggy. As well as 2 lovely Valkyries, 2 Ulferners, and 3 rerolls, and that fits 100k beautifully. So I'm going to give those a go very, very soon. So my apologies, it isn't that window we want to look at. We are back on this, but instead of looking at the NAF site, I want to have a look at this. Now, this is from the lovely Mike Davis, also known as San. He's been on One World, One Blood Bowl. It's his list, from his tableau vivid, his public tableau, where he has all sorts of fantastic data presented in wonderful and sexy ways, which you can search to your heart's content. When you press all of these lovely things, all the lovely numbers jiggle around and form whole new lines. They dance for you, and I'm a huge fan of numbers that dance for me. So what we're looking at here is some statistics pulled out from the UKTC very, very recently. Obviously now, I think 2 weeks ago. And you'll notice at the top there, the most average points given to by any race to a team they were on was from Slan. High Elf came second, but Slan there came top.
Core's face.
Well,
Core's
we
like,
Core saw that before he
"That
picked
was
his
good
team
with me."
for an FC, right?
So
You know
yeah,
what Core
there we are.
picked to UK?
Slan, most points. What you may find surprising, High Elves did come second. Chaos Renegades came third. Necromantic fourth. Lizardmen putting the points away. Tomb Kings and Dwarves all providing serious points to their team. You may notice that right down at the bottom is Goblins and Underworld Denizens and Halflings and Black Orcs.
Who was that?
But right down under those is Wood Elf, Norse, and Old World Trash. Now, I think Old World Trash aren't going to surprise many people. Norse have just been reworked, so that was Old Norse. People, what the hell are Wood Elves doing down there? What's going on? Are Wood Elves crap?
I will bet you there's no good team that had Wood Elf, because Dark Elf and High Elf in that rule set is just better.
Okay.
It's pretty simple.
So, Wood Elves are fine, there were better options.
Yep.
And yet they came second bottom of points for teams.
But their one shtick is leap, right? And leap is. I mean,
They start with Blodge out of the cab. They get a tree. They have the fastest catchers who start with Dodge. They're more than just leapy, aren't they? Sick, aren't they?
But they're harder to play.
Yeah, I mean, they're not, I guess, as forgiving, are they, as High Elves or Dark Elves? So, I mean, yeah, I mean, not too many people play them either. It's only 7 coaches, but I'm not really sure what to make of it, honestly. I'm a bit surprised by that. So.
You need to look at, I was about to say, what played, because like the Slan, like somebody says, there's also only 4 people actually playing Slan.
And you were one of them.
And I know at least 2 of them. That was me and Purple Go.
Well, okay, yeah. So that's going to bring the average up, right? Probably.
Which was at UKTC, right?
This is at UKTC. Now, we're going to move to the NAFC. We're going to talk a little bit about that and some stats we've got there, which you've given us some lovely access to, Deefer. Thank you for that. We've just thrown another question up. What race am I going to say has amazed me twice? The first is was it Snotlings? 29% think it was that, because they're both good at Blood Bowl and fun to play. Is it Imperial Nobility, because they're like birds but worse? So those are the 2 things that would have amazed me there. Flings, because they're both popular and good, and all of those got 29% of the votes. 14% of the votes went to Old World Alliance for being both bad and then getting worse in the new rule set. But unfortunately, no one voted for the right answer, which is the thing that amazed me the most at the moment, is Wood Elves, because they're not only really bad, but seemingly really unpopular. Now, as my second piece of evidence, I wanted to show you this. So this one, I'm not going to be able to link to. This is just for our eyes only. This is, I've only got this on Discord. So this, I'm reliably informed by Deeferdan, with almost all of the submissions in and more than are on that list but haven't yet been processed. There's only a few left to dribble in. This is the race breakdown for entries to the NAFC. This is the races that have applied. And now I'm going to let people start. We've had some dark hints as to who's coaching what. Now we're going to start to talk about who's doing what and why and what is going on at the NAFC and what the state of the meta is. If you hadn't guessed, I think we may have just destroyed the point of the third final poll. So the poll that we have had up is what race other than vampires has yet to be entered into the NAFC. The winner with 60% was Chaos Renegades, Old World Alliance and Nurgle came next. And then Khorne and Tomb Kings got no votes. The right answer, as you can see down the bottom of that sheet, which isn't quite visible to you, I beg your pardon. That's where to do it. The right answer, right down there bottom, is Vampires and Old World Alliance. But only just above them, of course, we have Wood Elves in 14th. Now, I think 7 entries from Wood Elves compared to 26 from Dark Elves is quite low. The most entries, obviously, Dark Elves are 26, Lizards with 24, Humans with 19, Dwarves with 18, Shambling Undead with 18, Orcs with 17, Halflings with 14, Chorfs with 13, Norse with 12, Skaven with 12, Khorne with 11. 7 for Wood Elves. Am I wrong to be amazed? Are they simply crap and bad?
I don't.
Dan, were you surprised when you saw that data come in?
I guess I was a bit surprised, but I think it's really important to point out that the rule set here that we're talking about. So this is untiered, and bearing that in mind, actually we've got a pretty good spread. I think I'm really happy with the spread that we've received.
Okay.
So there's no tiering at all, except that the stunty teams have the option of taking 1 star. Now, without giving anything away, not everybody has taken Morgul Griff, which is remarkable in and of itself.
Yes.
So there is even some stunty teams without star players. So, fair play for people for putting that upon themselves for a weekend, paying all that money and then coming along and with halflings without a star player. But I'm really pleased to see that there's a fairly decent spread. I think it was inevitable that those 2 S tier teams, Lizards and Dark Elves, would be up the top. And I think Core will be able to tell you more about why Dark Elves now, especially in that particular rule set, are much better than Woodies.
I will ask that question. Why no tiers?
So,
I mean, they don't work.
in recent years, the rule set has been lightly tiered, and also the rules have been that you get half your skills on day 1, and the second half of your skills on day 2. And that's it's been a bit of a basically everybody, but because of the way that it was tiered and because of the way you got extra skills on day 1, everybody was bringing necromantic. It just was like that's what you took to the NAF champs.
Yeah.
It just fitted the rule set perfectly because they got like 1 extra skill and it made them really strong on day 1, and then those traditional tier 1 teams caught up on day 2 but often didn't catch up. So and we had a chat about it and we thought, the Blood Bowl 2020 reset, why don't we, is this an opportunity to pare it back a bit? And nobody really does untiered tournaments anymore.
Yeah.
It seems to be that is the accepted approach, that you tier. But originally, tiering wasn't a thing. It's actually quite a recent thing. So yeah, it was kind of a bit of a throwback, I guess. But it's also just it's an opportunity, isn't it? And if it doesn't work and people don't like it, we can moderate the rules a little bit next year. It's not a problem. But let's start at a baseline again with big numbers of people.
And yes, and I think it is quite surprising. For example, someone's playing Chaos. Someone's playing Nurgle. I mean,
Nurgle is worse than Stunties.
Good luck to them, really. But
Yeah.
Nobody playing OWA though. I find it really funny that one person brought OWA to UKTC. Why did their teammates? Who are they? Why did their teammates let them? Did they
yeah,
bet?
that.
I don't know.
I mean, I thought the final nail in the coffin was when I heard that the dwarves were being downgraded to whatever gnome-like monstrosities they now masquerade under the name of dwarves and Old World Alliance. And then I heard the humans were getting a halfling. I thought, well then,
That was you thought, okay.
what exactly is the point of Old World Alliance then? If humans can already throw a fling, what have Old World Alliance got?
They
Crap
don't seem to have anything
dwarves?
unique, do they?
And a metric ton of loner? No thanks. No thanks. I'd rather coach in the hero mobility, and I wouldn't really like to do that. So, Core, you've been smiling away. You're a happy man. What's going on? Why are you smiling? It unnerves me.
No, it's good. I've kind of let's be honest, I've kind of missed it. How Blood Bowl Grand Tournament was. That was 105 and 1 skill before each game, and no tiers at all.
So this is 6+1, isn't it? So it is. We've got 7 skills, but one of them can be a secondary skill.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not like Lizard and Dark Elf. I think is to consider. Everybody picks them as the 2 best teams currently in the rules. the 6+1 fits both team perfectly,
It does.
especially lizards.
Yep.
Undead is up there with them, with the double for the mummy. And Wood Elf with harder leaping is just harder to play Wood Elf well now. Which means if you can play Wood Elf and Dark Elf is slightly better, why not take Dark Elves? Which has been my go-to team because it's one of the best tournament-winning teams, period.
Well, 26
but
people
not
currently
this
signed
year.
up for the NAFC agree with you. But this year you've gone
Not
for
me. Slan.
the
We are
most
going,
point-scoring team at
crisscross.
the UKTC.
Crisscrosses make you jump.
So you're planning to hop and presumably pop.
Yeah. It's if you did you mention Joe's blog last time? I
Yes,
think 2
yes, we
weeks
did.
ago.
Yeah.
It's the whole meta is Wood Elf's a problem a bit as well. It's really hard to keep people away for 8 turns now with jump and other stuff. Easier turnovers. So actually winning the game by taking the ball and scoring.
Yeah.
It's the more aggressive team is slightly better now. Dark Elf is easier to play aggressive with Blotch and Armor 8 than Wood Elf are. And Slan can still jump on 3+ and 2+ and can use multiple rerolls. It's good fun.
The way you say that makes me unnerved. I mean, that's the sound of a predator in his stalking his prey, isn't it?
And of course,
I can use
there
multiple
might not-
rerolls. I will get you with my multiple rerolls.
There might not be a tier 1 though, but I find it interesting to see how well they stack without
Yeah.
tiers.
I mean-
And of course, it helps that they are even worse for Lizard than Wood Elf was, and there will be a lot of Lizards that count.
There
that gives
does
them
look to be a lot of
plus as well.
lizards, yes. I mean, I decided I wanted to lean into the idea of not metagaming it, just taking a race and seeing what happens. So I just rolled a dice and decided it was time I did some dark elfing. So what?
So
What?
that's happened,
I just
I
thought.
don't know how many people are going to buy that, you
Okay,
see.
all right, I'll try. I read Joe's blog and I thought that's really interesting. I want to see if I feel that. So that means I need to coach some elves. So I thought, well, I'll take dark elves then and I'll see if I agree. All right, I thought they're clearly overpowered in this rule set, so I'll pick dark elves. But I think my build is not. I think I built them horrifically badly. So there we are. I believe, Sick, you've also taken dark elves.
I have disgusting power.
And
games,
was
but
laughing at me. I mean,
It's because he's got a better roster. That's why he's laughing.
He has.
I
got better
think
roster,
I
yeah.
do, to be perfectly honest. Although I will say I've seen Cole's roster and that looks really good for like what he's getting. I won't know, like spoil it if he doesn't want me to, but he's getting a lot out of it. So
Can spoil it. It's fine.
So
well, I can't
what are you
remember,
taking,
to be
Cora?
perfectly honest. I didn't memorize your roster, so
Are we building with blitzers or catchers or both?
1 blitzer, 3 catchers, 13 players, 4 rerolls, Apo,
No Croxidor, right?
and no Crocs.
Yes. I mean, I know you prefer to play like water, don't you, rather than centre around a big guy, but be constantly in movement.
And he takes up some money as well, and he doesn't actually. For some people, he gives you. For me, he doesn't actually give me most of what I want to do with them. Where Purple Cube loves the Croxigar.
I mean, I'm so caught. I've never decided on that. He's so good. He is one of the best big guys. With the tail and the armor and the thick skull and the move. It's just all good. But he doesn't seem to have any synergy with what the rest of the team does.
No, that's mine. He takes hits. It stops the frogs from being flattened. Without him, you still get 13 and an Apo, so you still have, and most of them are Armor 8. You only have 3 Armor 7 now with that setup. So they can still take some punching, like Dark Elves.
And how much wrestle do you have and how much? Well, presumably only one guard. Or has the Blitzer got guard as well?
No, block on the Blitzer. And 2 dodge catchers, 1 guard catcher. It's leave me how many tackle, strip ball, wrestle left.
Yeah, one of
One
each of
for
those.
anything. Yeah, it's a 1 for anything.
Wow. So a real Swiss Army of a slam team.
And that, yeah, it's really, I think it's interesting with the no tiers to see some of those teams, how well they can actually do in a non-tiered. Because
And secretly think you're still going to be top half, top quarter, top 10?
That's
top table.
That's always my goal, but it's not always going that way. I think especially because that setup is should do well against a lot of the teams there's a lot of, like Lizards and stuff. So they should still be able to do like 4-1-1, or maybe 4-0-2 or something like that, because you cannot really draw. So you'll probably end up losing one instead of drawing it, because draws are not cutting it. You need 5 wins.
And I'm a bit cross as well. I haven't gone with that second stage of the meta, of reading the meta and responding to it. I would have thought some strip ball wood elves in a meta full of lizards, dark elves, and undead, none of whom are going to have sure hands, presumably, could do some wonderful things. Sick, you got a better dark elf team than me. What dark elves are you running?
Ooh, okay. I've got the double on a guard blitzer, 3 dodge blitzers, block witch elf, wrestle witch elf, 2 rerolls, and a leader runner. So that's 3, and then 12 men as well, and no apo. Sorry, yeah, that's right. Yeah, so 12 men, no apo. Yeah,
Yeah, that is better.
bit boring though. I enjoyed your roster.
Yes, it's
because
boring.
of it,
It's boring. There you are. Yours is boring.
But it's
Mine,
right.
right. See, this is the sort of toxic nonsense that gets people saying this show is all about winning. Cool.
I keep saying I'm going to play a fun roster one tournament, but I can never really bring myself. I just want to bring.
I'm all in for the giggles. I mean, I'm not, am I? I mean, it's just this. Everyone else is going to go, but that sounds all right, and then Cole's going to giggle at me. So I've taken 3 blodge blitzers, as you should, and a guard blitzer. That's all very normal, all fine. I've taken a wrestle witch, because, there's going to be dodgy elves all over the damn place. You're going to have to get them down somehow. And then I've taken a runner with leader. I've got 12 elves. I've got 3 rerolls and an apo. No, 2 rerolls and a leader and an apo. And a sneaky get elf.
Oh, seems fine and normal. Let's
Seems
move
fine
on.
and normal to me. See? Nothing wrong with that, is there, Cool? Absolutely fine.
No, it's fine.
So for a start, I do want to play with some elves. I do want to see if I feel Sam's right, and I do think that Court's right. If you're going to be more aggressive with elves, then I think you want 88 to do it. I'm not sure high elves are that well suited in a non-tiered environment to try it. And pro elves, I'd want a little more as well. So that screamed dark elves at me. I do wish I'd gone with Amazons and a prey upon the weak build. With sneaky gets and tackles and mighty blows and guards and just destroyed things. But I didn't, so there we are. Those are the builds we've chosen to take. What is there things that concern us in what we've seen and what other people are bringing?
I was going to ask Core, actually. Presumably you just don't want to run into too many of the dwarf teams.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised at that many dwarves, because they are kind of prone to getting a draw. So I will expect there's not too many of the top coaches bringing them for that reason. They're really, really tough to win 5 games with, as PC can testament to. It's so hard not to having a draw somewhere on the way.
It is, and it's the reason why, I've said this before, lovely man and fabulous coach Gigster gave me a piece of advice once, which I thought was really interesting but sad, which is all top dwarf coaches eventually change to elves, because if they want wins, that's how they get them.
Yeah.
Tournament wins, he meant, not just wins in games.
So I'm a bit surprised at that many dwarves, but on the other hand, because it is quite a rarity of coaches coming to the NFC, there's a lot of people that feel at peace with them. I was about to say that they know they can play them, and the rules are good for them, and it's a good rule set for them, and 2020 is still fine for dwarves. It's
Specifically, we're going to see a wall of guard and a sneaky get death roller, aren't we?
That's be what I would be doing if I were playing dwarves. But yeah,
I know at least one person bringing dwarfs, and they've got a death roller. So
yeah. I think Forge World has been selling out of death rollers. The one I bought on eBay
I bought
didn't
one.
turn up. I presume someone else has bought it. Yeah, I'm after one, because that seems to be where dwarves are going now. Is death rollers for tournaments.
Still, the cool plays dive and tackle me.
Diving tackle
But
death
we
rollers.
did that 10 years ago. I was about to say.
Yeah. I know.
It's
Well,
a
that's why it's
retro
cool.
thing.
Old hammer is cool.
Yeah.
Yes,
just a quick shout out to we've got 3 American coaches coming.
Yeah,
Fabulous.
that's cool.
One of whom is bringing ogres. I
Which
didn't
one?
message you. I was like, "You're coming all that way."
You can enjoy the.
Oh, totally. You'll have a lovely time.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I mean, everyone will be really nice to him. He'll be very popular with all of his opponents.
I think he's absolutely he's a good coach, and I'm sure he'll do well. And maybe he's coming for the Stunty Cup. But
It's
it blows my mind every time when people come. I recently ran a one-day event with these rule set, and actually the reigning NAF Championships champion Java, who beat Core, he beat Core in the final. That was the final that Core lost. He came
When he lost the final.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. So he came all the way to Italy for a 3-day event with Snotlings. So, sorry, a 3-game event, a 1-day event with Snotlings. So.
Well, he had that karma to balance, because as I recall that final, Core, despite losing it, could still in some count that way have claimed to have won, but didn't, because it only counts on the result of that final game, isn't that?
Yeah.
That must still smart a bit, Core. Now, do you
Listen,
think, genuinely, do you
we're
think
all
your
on zero
views
now.
on this play one final game have been dictated by that experience where it massively cost you a third title?
No, I was arguing against. I've been always against it since, since I discovered it was a thing. You're playing 5 games. It's not even 5 games. All games but one is played in one system. That's just crazy.
No,
So
we talked
all
about
of our cricket, we have 3-day test cricket games, but the final will be 2020. Or the other way around.
Whoa. That was Core just assuring his place in the Team England Blood Bowl team there, by the way.
Or probably actually more like the
Cultural
other way
acceleration.
around. Everything is 2020, but
Good reference from a Dane, amazing.
I thought
but
I
the
thought
final is a 3-day test match. What the fuck?
Genuinely surprised and pleased by that. I mean, it wasn't the best analogy I've ever heard, but you get points for trying.
It was
Definitely.
incredible.
I thought you nailed the Team
I
England
watched the
spot
whole game.
by getting a draw when Joe Manji whispers in your ear, but I stand corrected. There is one more thing I wanted to talk to you, Dan, about particularly. Well, I mean, 2, but the first one I think is really important. We did talk a little bit about COVID. Just in general, what is, as a player coming to the NAFC, I mean, particularly for young Sick, beautiful and tender as he is, I would hate for him to have a bad first experience. What's his
I'm actually
responsibility?
46 PC, but I see what you're saying.
I think you've aged wonderfully, that's all. And that still makes you quite a lot younger than me, so... he's a whip of a young man. I would hate for his hopes and dreams to be dashed. What's his responsibility at the NFC? What does he need to make sure he does and gets done?
I think just come and have a chat. So I was in that boat. Like, I went to having been away from the scene for a long time. I knew a few people, but I didn't know anybody at the first NAF Champs that I went back to in 2016. And I just rocked up, and there was a few faces I recognised, and just come and have a chat and have a talk with people. It is a safe space for Blood Bowlers, if you like. It, there's going to be a really wild variety of standard there because there's 320 people, and happily, well, maybe unhappily, we're not all as good as Core. So, but secretly we're all as competitive.
I'm definitely glad of that. Yeah.
But it is super chill, actually, and it's in a big space and it's airy. And also to say, we'll be there from like 2 o'clock on the Friday. So if you do come and it's early, like, come and see us in the Orchard Hotel. Come and say hi. There's going to be a lot of beer flowing on the Friday night as well.
Yeah, I mean,
no pressure, just no pressure. Like, it's
sure.
what it is.
I'm not too worried about that. I went to, I think you've had Volcasia, haven't you, on this
We have.
on here before, Brett PC?
Yes.
Yeah, I went to his tournament in Berlin, and I was a little bit worried, honestly, before I went, because I'd never been to Berlin, even never been to Germany, but it was lovely. Like, everyone there was so nice and super friendly. So thank you to everyone for that, first of all. But yeah, I mean, like, I've turned up at tournaments where I basically don't know anyone before, so I'm not too, and I do know people at this one. But yeah, that is very good advice, I think, especially if you've never been to a big tournament like this before.
I mean, I'd say,
and I will be there on the Friday as well.
I mean, you can just walk up and talk to anybody at a tournament. Just say, "What's your build? What are you bringing this weekend?" And that usually kicks the conversation.
How was your weather? Yeah. If you see people go and tell him how your weather was. He'll love that.
So yeah, I think it's really important. The NAFC isn't. It's not some event where sort of the top 300 players in the world gather and do battle. I mean, there will be some good players there, but there'll be someone that's played 5 games at a scout hut, and then someone said, "Come along to the NAFC." There's usually, I don't know if they're coming back, but usually Stig brings his Blood Bowl club, doesn't he, from his school where he coaches. So there's usually a splattering of children playing Blood Bowl. Some of them are really incredibly good. I mean, terrifyingly so.
Yeah,
So really, there's all
absolutely.
sorts.
Yeah, and also like see it as inspiration to go and play in different places as well, because there'll be a lot of foreign coaches there. There will be our American friends. There's a few Belgians coming over, not as many as usual, but if it encourages you in any way to do like Sick has done and go to Berlin or go to France and play, then absolutely use it as a platform for that, because that is peak Blood Bowl
Yeah,
in my
absolutely.
opinion.
I mean, I'd say the same. I'm going to be knocking around on the Friday evening and all day Saturday. If you see anyone in a Squad Chaos shirt, they will definitely offer you a hello and a warm welcome. But I definitely would, if you just walk up and say, I've seen you online or whatever, if you just want someone to talk to, that's always fine. Core isn't quite the big scary bear that he looks. I'm sure he would do the same. But we're not doing hugs. We've already decided that. No hugs. So yeah, I mean, let's have a great NAFC. It's going to be an absolute festival of Blood Bowl, and I do think some of the data that's going to come out from a no-tiered event, scary as no-tiers slightly is for those of us that have, I mean, I'd say I've not been playing tabletop a lot longer.
I was
Almost
a bit
every event I've been to has been tiered.
surprised about the no tiers, but having heard Dan explain it, I can see why he's done it, or the NAF have done it. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it is only one tournament. Of the 350 people, there'll be one person that walks away with a win. 349 won't, but hopefully we'll all have had a good time. Or they'll all have had a good time.
It is. Like I started with, and I think Goo and Purple and those guys, when you had their mob, is saying this, it's Purple and Goo, for sake, the same Gexter, and all the other one. It's so much. It's the Blood Bowl is one thing, but it's the whole thing around going that's much more important, and why we keep doing it. And some of us hadn't done it for, I was about to say, 10 and 15 and 20 years now, and keep doing it. It's the Friday nights, it's the Saturday nights, it's the mornings before more than it actually is the tournaments. And
I think
the teams are great, but
Yeah.
singles you kind of forced to mingle, where teams you can end up. That's one of the difference. You can end up a little bit just in your own little team bubble, where here you're forced to mingle with the rest of the world.
And there are some downsides to that. I mean, when a Blood Bowl game ends, for there to be 3 people, as I said before, who are sort of contractually obliged to pretend they care how yours went, that I do find that quite handy, because I do want to tell someone why I didn't win and why it was all their fault and not mine, and I should have won, obviously.
There's plenty tournaments to tell you story. There's plenty players to tell you story to, and if you're willing to listen to their explanation as well, as we all do it to some degree and all been doing it.
I will give you 2 minutes for why your
areas.
5 plus 6 plus should have worked, and then you need to listen to why my 2 plus 2 plus was deeply unfair. Okay, that's the trade here.
The social contract is, if you want to tell your story, you also have to listen to their story.
Absolutely. I do think that's what it's about.
I was just going to say one more thing about the NAF Champs as to why that is a really good singles event to come to. Aside from the volume of people, despite the current situation with COVID and things like that, the venue, it's had its licks in the past. Lunch isn't going to be amazing. I apologise for that. We have no control over what is supplied, but putting people all in one place, and then also largely a lot of people all staying in one place, sort of on campus, right next door, to me, like, takes it to the next level. So especially on the Saturday night, because a lot of people will be in Warhammer World on the Friday night, and then they'll come over to the Orchard for a beer. There's a lovely big bar downstairs in the hotel, loads of space, people playing board games, people sometimes even playing Blood Bowl. And I know, can't get enough of it. Those are the ones that are on my Play 7 games for the NAF Champs team. But it's brilliant because and even if you're not staying at the Orchard Hotel, you can still come in for a beer. So the majority of people will be in there. So it is a really great opportunity to meet people.
Yeah, and you can, because you're not in a team. You can stay that little bit more sequestered. I felt, and a lot of other people I talked to felt, that York, it wasn't just about being in the event. It was also the fact that people were staying all over York, people going out in York at night. And there's a lot less of that at the NAFC, because, as you said, it is much more a one campus thing.
But if you want to go to Rock City, you can find the people that want to go Rock City.
Of course you can. But I'm not going to pretend I'm not going to be more cautious than I was at the UKTC. I'm due to go away on a holiday a week later, and I wanted to go on that. So.
Fair enough.
Well, and speaking of which, that does mean that the week after the UKTC, after the NAFC, there will be another One World, One Blood Bowl. Episode 60 will be happening 2 weeks from today. But after that, I will be taking another break like I did over Christmas. So this is sort of going to be the penultimate one, and then the next one will be the end of season 2. We will have a short break, and then I am planning on coming back and doing some more. I have some ideas, some irons in the fire, and lots of things I still want to talk about. So hopefully we will keep talking One World, One Blood Bowl, but I will be taking a break in the second half of May. There is one more to come after this one. I am, as those that know how I wind shows up, beginning my long ending. So let's just turn to everybody. Sick, what are your hopes and dreams? In a week's time, when the NAFC is over, what are you hoping to be going home thinking and feeling?
Hopefully I just met some nice new people. Honestly, that's about the only thing I'd like to, I'd like to have, like, new cheesy, corny, whatever it sounds like, new friends, new people to talk to about Blood Bowl. Basically, that's about it.
Cool, same question. At least you own it. Okay, so for those watching on the podcast, he couldn't bring himself to say it, but he held up 3 fingers. He is going for the win. He thinks that Slan can do it even without tearing. I think he can too, but I do plan to stop him if I possibly can. And I know people like Gangster, Purple Goo, there'll be plenty of people with a say in where that ends up. But he's certainly going with that smile on the face.
No, I'm just looking forward, mainly do look forward to get back to Nottingham. We got Warhammer World on Friday, lots of us. It's a great stable. It's one of the tournaments I look most forward to every year.
I'm hoping after the UKTC and the NAFC, and I know we've had Water Bowl as well. I don't go that far north. I just don't have the clothing for that level of sort of winter attack. But I will probably get to one at one point. I really hope that with the sort of the big ones back, and a Euro Bowl on the horizon, a World Cup on the horizon, a Welsh Open on the horizon, I really hope we're starting to just feel that we're back now. We're through that pandemic phase. We may be moving the schedule around, we may be moving the calendar around, but we're back. These are going to keep happening. We can start making plans around Blood Bowl as part of our world again. Because despite how little I'd played tabletop, I found I really missed it. I think it's only fair we end with you, Dan. It's your show. What are you hoping for from the NAFC?
I'm hoping that everybody has a cracking time. Nobody complains about the slightly smaller pitches, so that you didn't get a bad back, and also that there's still space. We've had a few people drop out, so if you are interested and you're watching, come and get a ticket. And then also everybody will get one of these cool things. No matter what, you'll get one of these tokens. Woo! It's totally useless.
I'm in love.
But it's metal and it's a naffy ball. So do whatever you want with it. Just don't tell me what you've done with it.
I would love if I had any sort of backing to give things away. I would instantly run a competition as to what's the most ridiculous place you've put your NAF free thing. And because I'm sure there'll be some wonderful ones. Probably not ones that I could show.
You met Jim?
Yeah, exactly. Probably not ones I can show on a show that I hope is available to all. But I do love me some free stuff. It's been an evening full of beautiful people, Throwick, but it's been a beautiful evening, and for once we're going to end somewhere near the appropriate 1 hour length I always pretended this was going to be. Look, that's One World, One Blood Bowl number 15. The NAFC, it's a week away. I hope to really enjoy it. I hope we're going to really enjoy it. I hope the Wood Elf coaches continue to whine about their sad little team that now isn't top of the wheel. Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo. That's it for this episode. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks very much. I will find someone to raid you onto. But that is where One World, One Blood Bowl number 15 comes to an end.